Which book? You mean the Bible that encourages slavery? When debating with atheists, they often abandon their own worldview and borrow from theistic principles to judge the Bible or Christianity. Evolution cannot account for morality. Atheists attempt to explain it, but they fail to justify why moral laws seem external to individuals, absolute and universally recognized. An insult, for instance, is considered offensive across all cultures. But does this criticism disqualify the God of the Bible? Atheists fail to realize that by raising this objection, they implicitly acknowledge that God must be good and incapable of evil. In their effort to deny him, they paradoxically affirm his goodness. If we allow them to use theistic principles to judge the Bible, how should we respond to the claim that it encourages slavery? Is this accusation valid? Or are atheists taking verses out of context to fit their narrative? Let's start with the Old Testament. A favorite passage cited is Deuteronomy 15 verses 12 to 18. If a fellow Hebrew, a man or a woman, sells himself to you and serves you 6 years, in the 7th year you must let him go free. Supply him liberally from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. If your servant says, I do not want to leave you because he loves you and your family and is well off with you, then take an awl and push it through his earlobe into the door, and he will become your servant for life. A careful reading of this passage reveals anything but an endorsement of slavery. The critics fail to recognize that slavery in the ancient world was not racially motivated, but economic. It was a system in which the poor voluntarily entered servitude to survive, and God commanded their release after 6 years, unless they willingly chose to stay. Another commonly misquoted verse is Ephesians 6 verse 5, Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Atheists claim this verse promotes slavery, yet they conveniently ignore Ephesians 6 verse 9. And masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. Paul further dismantles the idea of social hierarchy in Galatians 3 verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Even more radically, in Philemon 16, Paul urges Philemon to accept his runaway slave, Onesimus, as a brother, not a slave, an unprecedented concept in the Roman world. Ironically, critics overlook that Christianity was at the forefront of abolishing the transatlantic slave trade. Devout Christian William Wilberforce fought relentlessly in British Parliament, leading to the Slave Trade Act of 1807. Now, let's assume we embrace